Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to round 2 of 4 of 2S's Nations Cup. It's we're halfway into the season and we are at the Nurburgring today. Absolutely beautiful track and absolutely beautiful racing. Definitely going to be something halfway into qualifying, I think already. Not halfway, is it? Yeah, I think we're close. But I am joined today in the commentator booth by my good friend Whiskey. Whiskey, say hi. And yeah... Sorry, but yeah, no, everyone, we have an exciting race queued up for you today. We have fixed our streaming problems as far as we are concerned. So today it's just me and Whiskey, and we're going to be giving you round 2 of 4. I mean, Whiskey, I can't believe it's already halfway in, isn't it? And we're at the Nurburgring.
And yeah, we're at the Nurburgring. Very, very famous, very, very good track for GT3 racing. And yeah, right now we're in qualifying, and we have some very, very fast people right at the top. We see Rupert and Rats are the two big guys that we see battling it out, just like we did last week. Although last week, if I remember correctly, Orlando Rats was kind of a one-man army when it came to times and stuff like that. He really just pulled away from everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, Rats was absolutely dominant, was he? He was really just at that point someone else. You know, just something else. You know, just really doing what needed to be done. And I think he really showed us that if you get your head down in these cars, you can do some amazing stuff. I do want to talk about this person real quick, Mr. Samuel. He is. What are you expecting from him today? Because, you know, we've seen some really good pace out of Sam, but this is the Nurburgring. It isn't as easy as it might seem. What are you expecting out of him today, Whiskey?
Well, in the past, Sam has been an incredible driver, not only for ACC, but for Assetto Corsa, the original game as well. And, you know, at every track is a little bit different. You know, one person might not be incredible at every single track. They might be good at a few tracks and maybe not so good on other tracks. So I think he definitely has potential to really be up there when it comes to timings and when it comes to results today. If he can get in the zone and deliver, then you know he's going to get a really good result, and he has the potential to get a really good result. So I'm not really surprised he's doing as well as he's doing right now.
Exactly, and I mean, you know, the thing is, of course, you know, we saw free practice before this, but the thing that's changing that you know we've talked a lot about this league is the race format, isn't it? Whiskey. Today, you know, we have an hour-long race, so where these guys qualify right now, as Felix Rupert goes P1 there, brilliant time, 1:54.542. You know, these guys are qualifying to, you know, basically they're getting qualifying position to racing for the next hour. You know, of course, you know, we will see overtakes, but these guys, this session qualifying right now is extremely important. You know, what is the most important thing would you think, Whiskey? You know, getting into this qualifying, you know, what's the mindset? Do you want to be up at the front? Do you maybe want to be midfield-ish, kind of just hang around there and, you know, base it all off your pit strategy? What do you think is going on inside these racers' heads? You know, especially people like Felix and Orlando that are right at the front.
Well, I think when you start at the front, you have a control over the race. You know, when you start at the back, you are at a net loss. So if you start at the back, you have to do something significant or unexpected in order to gain positions. But if you're at the front, you control the race, you control how the race is going, and you can do, like when you're talking about pit strategy, if you're at the front, you can come in when you need to come in instead of reacting to people because you are at that advantage. And also, if you're at the front, let's say you're P1, you don't have any cars in front of you, so you don't have that dirty air when you're taking these big sweeping corners, which is so hard to follow people through. And so, yeah, I think you definitely want to be as far front as possible coming into this race, which Orlando is doing a fantastic job. He's the first time round, it was 7/10 ahead of anybody else, but now he's 1/10 ahead. So Rupert is getting pretty close, and then Chumlee coming in behind Rupert 7/10. So yeah, still pretty close. It looks like Rupert and Rats are very, very similar when it comes to lap times.
I think they definitely are. I mean, of course, before this, as I said, we did have practice. But the thing is, in practice, a lot of the times, some people will be on the long runs, of course. But a lot of times in practice, they'll be kind of withholding information from each other. They won't be giving each other all the information because they know they don't want to show their full deck of cards, so to say. So I think this qualifying session, both Orlando and Felix are absolutely giving it their all, trying to beat the other one. And I mean, currently, folks, to give you an idea, Orlando's fast lap 1:54.425, and Felix Rupert's last lap 1:54.542. So that's less than a tenth, almost. Is it? Well, almost. No, sorry, it's just above a tenth. But state being, Whiskey, these guys are fighting so marginally. And it's for P1 and P2, it's next to the same grid. So I think the biggest question is around the Nurburgring, if you're starting P1 and P2, is it really important, to get that edge to get P1, or do you think, one of them might settle for P2 and say that's fine, I could just, dive into this first corner?
No, I agree. I think P2 is almost just as good as P1, very, very marginally not, but I think P2 just has just as much opportunity going into that first corner, because if you can get a great start off of the rolling start and you can, react really quick compared to the person right next to you, you can get that lead, possibly even an overtake before the first corner, or you can just try to brake late and kind of get a little risky on the first corner, try to get that overtake done, because the sooner you can, if you're P2, the sooner you can overtake P1, the quicker you can start building that gap. And really the first lap and the first two laps are super important when it comes to positions, because once the pack of cars starts spreading out, in order to overtake someone, you have to catch up with them first. Whereas if you're in, lap 1, lap 2, you're so close together that just a late break and you just gained a position, as long as you're being, careful about it. But yeah, so lap 1, lap 2 is almost just as, I would say it is just as important as qualifying, lap 1 and lap 2.
I do have to,
so, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I do have to definitely agree with you. Now, the biggest thing that you did slightly mention there is the dirty air, of course. Now, the thing, I think, Whiskey, that makes the Nurburgring so much different from the other tracks is the Nurburgring does have a lot of straights, yes, but because such a large margin of it is, our corners, that slipstream effect, it's more turning into dirty air than it is slipstream, because, okay, fine, you have 1 or 2 or 3 straights that you can, stick behind someone, but I mean, in the middle sector, if you're in their, as you said, if you're in the bad air, basically, in their wake, you are absolutely screwed. You'll lose lap time because you can't make the same corners, you can't turn the same way, and your car just starts behaving differently. So, I do have to say, I definitely agree with you when it comes to P1, the physical lap 1 and lap 2 being as important. But I think the thing that might be more important is to get ahead. I know it sounds extremely stupid, but I genuinely think that we'll see today, people are going to have an extremely hard time following someone, and it's going to be a massive determining factor in who's going to win this race.
Definitely. I think we're going to see strategies of trying to stay as close as possible until they get to one of these kind of not like official, but kind of like determined overtake zones. You see these long straights, and that's really the big places for overtaking, because you can't really overtake through a good amount of these big sweeping turns unless someone's really unstable or you're just feeling a little ballsy that day. But yeah, so I think there's definitely going to be places where we're going to see like similar moves of overtaking throughout the day today.
Definitely think so as well. Currently still looking at Orlando Rats. I haven't been focusing so much on anyone else, because this man, him and Rupert, they're just, I mean, I don't know what it is, but they just drive so elegantly. Like, you know, I know, of course, you know, that isn't the point, it's being fast, but it's amazing to see how fast these guys are, and yet, you know, they aren't, you know, really unstable, if that makes sense. I mean, you know, their car is stable, and they're keeping it there, you know, it isn't fighting them much, and, you know, it looks as if they're, you know, as just kind of a go-kart that they're driving around and just, you know, easily steering left to right.
Yeah, definitely. And with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in qualifying, we're going to start to see people pushing it just that bit harder to try and get a good qualifying lap, and we might start seeing a few people finding the limits of their cars, maybe going off a bit, but also some people nailing it and getting some pretty awesome qualifying laps. Right now we have Rats in P1 with a 154.425, which is going to be tough to beat, but we'll see if I think Rupert is the big one in contention in order to beat that. So we'll see if he can do it. Maybe if we want to go on board with him for his next flying lap, that could be interesting to watch. Yeah.
Okay, let's go on board with Rupert.
He's just about to finish the lap he's in right now.
Oh crap! Oh, I've done something. Do apologize. That was to apologize to everyone watching. That was quite weird there. I'm just gonna get good view here. I think we're gonna hop on the bonnet. You want to take us through this lap, Mr. Risky?
Sure. So, exit is very important for all of these straights. Basically, anywhere you go, exit is what you want to utilize when you start your flying lap. So, you know, you might do a cool down lap and then slow down a little bit in order to get a really nice exit. And it's important that, you know, you really have to be in a calm mindset, that you don't overdo it, because a lot of times you can get very overstressed and your brain kind of goes haywire when you do a hot lap and you end up making silly mistakes that you never would. But he's doing a great job, as we see some dust getting kicked up from the driver in front of him. But yeah, apex to apex, using all of the track possible. You see him using the runoff, which is there for a reason, to be used. So awesome. Just kind of, there you go. Yeah, so for turns like that, you just kind of have to wait either on the brakes or coasting in order to wait for that traction to bite under your tires, and then you can apply the throttle. If you apply the throttle too early, you are very liable to spin out. Similar with that turn there, as we turn in to start the straight and the Schumacher S.
Lando, I think he's currently flying.
Oh, is he?
I believe so. The time sheets tell me he's flying. But Rupert then heading up to the last corner. What do you think? Honestly, if we have to guess, right? If you have to guess your top 3 finish today, Mr. Wilson, what do you think? Top 3 finish today. What do you think?
Top 3? I think Rupert. Rupert did take lead.
He did indeed, but only with a 10th. Less than a 10th, actually.
It's true.
I think it's 6/100ths of a second.
Orlando has this last lap in order to improve. Let's see if he does.
Let's see if he does. Coming into.
Oh, there he is.
I always forget the names of these corners, man. It's quite a few names of these corners in the Nurburgring, isn't it? Let's have a look. I think he's coming around to last. Is he? No, it's just last event. Sorry, I do apologize. A bit of an awkward. No, but I have an awkward camera angle because every time I want to have a look at it changes. Every time I want to have a look at it changes. But I'm going through the last chicane here, and we see Orlando going up to the final corner. Now that is the big question: will he improve in his lap? Is he able to take that P1? As he's speeding, gets good exit, crosses the line, and he goes P1 by a 10th of a second. That is a 10th. Orlando's setting a 154.257. Rupert setting a 154.362. Rats barely getting that, Whiskey. I mean, you know, that must be, you know, if you put in that good of a lap, you know, he must be kind of relieved, if I can say that. He's kind of like, okay, I have the pace, I can do this. Don't worry, I'm still faster.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Rupert, he put in a killer lap, and he's definitely not going to be happy to see Orlando back at the top of the tower. Yeah. As we see the rest of the cars finishing up, and that is qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. Orlando Rats taking pole position, right above Felix Rupert, Chris Wachowski, Sam Chumley, Nico Veldman, Antoine Olive, Ruben Vendehutting, Timo Brown, Christian Sugar, and Eligner are top 10.
Now, I do want to have a look at this guy. You know, Chris Wachowski. What do you do in his position? You know, just quickly, you know, before the race starts. But I mean, you know, because he's kind of desperate. He's about 3/4 of the leaders. Do you think he's going to try and stick with them, or Whiskey? Do you think he might just, you know, try and do his own race?
Well, first I think he probably needs to get through the first few laps cleanly, because he doesn't really have to worry about the front, but he needs to worry about the people behind him trying to get easy positions, and that can turn messy sometimes. So I think he needs to try and get through it cleanly, and definitely I will be surprised if he tries to get any positions on turn 1, because it's not a very long straight starting from the start finish. So you don't have, I mean, obviously slipstream is happening, but it doesn't happen long enough for it to really affect, you know, your speed as enough to overtake. So I'll be surprised if he goes for that. But I think the big guys we're gonna see battling it out are definitely Orlando, Rats, and Rupert. Because if Rupert does have Orlando's pace, I mean, he did qualify second, but they are very similar in pace. I think if Rupert can overtake Orlando, I do think he has the pace to win. And, you know, having Orlando behind him, Orlando, just from being a car behind, will still struggle. I don't think it would be an easy overtake for Orlando with Rupert. So yeah, I think we do have quite a race on our hands today. And as we see all the cars lined up with their incredible liveries, we see, you know, a Dell livery. Is that Timo?
I'm not quite sure. I know it's a BMW. I think it's... Yeah, I'm not quite sure which BMW it is, but I know for a fact it's a BMW. But yeah, no, Whiskey, definitely. We'll see. You know, I think it would be interesting to see if Rupert can hold off Rats. But I guess we have, what, 15 seconds, and we'll find out? Yeah, about 15 seconds, then we'll find out if he can. But yeah, 10 seconds here, folks. Whiskey, once again, thank you very much for joining me today as we get into the race. That is 5 lights. Do they have a formation? I don't think they do.
They do have a formation.
Okay, they do have a formation. Okay, we need to check that. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to check that. But we'll see the formation start here. Just extremely important for these drivers, folks, to get their tires into the right temperature. We should see 1 or 2 of them weaving, but these are your 2 front row starters, Orlando Rats and Rupert. And just look how menacing they look. I mean, Whiskey, listen, what I'm saying is, I don't know about you, but on camera, you know, on my camera views, these 2 look, they look pretty nasty.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely mean business, and they came here to win, both of them, but only one person can win today. So we'll see how strategy plays into it, and we'll see how just pace plays into it as well. Because since this is a 1-hour race, they will be pitting.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how that plays in, and we'll see how different strategies. The undercut, I don't know how strong it is on this track, so we'll see if anybody tries to undercut and how effective it is too.
Definitely see. Well, then at the start we have I mean, I assume because it is a Nations Cup, we probably have to mention this. We have the UK versus Japan, because that's what they're representing, isn't it? But yeah, no, I think as we get through as we go to the hairpin, sorry, yeah, it's going to be something else this race, I think. We can already see some mind games here. Sorry, we'll have a look at that in a second. But yeah, no, I definitely think it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. It's a 1 hour race, as you said, Whiskey. Really a lot of strategy and pace. Of course, pace factors into it. But if you can beat someone on strategy, you can easily pull a 2-3 second gap if you really do it well. Did some of these drivers underfuel their cars? Did some of them overfuel the cars? Or not overfuel, did they fuel them more to go longer? Maybe to go a lot of the race. So we'll have a look what happens. I think it's definitely going to be interesting. But I do want to point out, Whiskey, these mind games. So for those who don't know, basically on this ACC, you have this little green, when you're on a formation, you have this little green piece that you have to stay within of your tires. And we can see Mr. Rupert is absolutely using every single bit of green that he can to get as close to rats as possible. Because on this restart, that is going to be extremely crucial, I do think. How far are we off start, do you think, Whiskey? How far? We're almost there. There's a track map for everyone.
I think we're about 2/3 of the way. We have this kink, and then I believe a chicane and a turn, and we're starting. For the championship itself, just real quick, Great Britain has 117 points, and they are currently leading the championship going into this race, with Germany not too far behind with 85.5 points. And then behind Germany is Italy with 55 points, and Japan with 53.5 points. So Italy and Japan too are very close, and so it's going to be interesting to see where they finish off at the end of this race, especially since we have Rupert, who represents Japan, at the very front.
I am going to have to cut you off there, Whiskey. I do apologize. As you said, though, it's going to be interesting to see if Japan can score some points there. But ladies and gentlemen, this is your 1 hour race start. Round 2 of 4 in the Nurburgring. Let's see what happens. And it's green light, go, go, go. And I think Rupert actually got a jump on Rats there, because look, Rats is already behind. Rupert's stealing that P1, and that was what we were talking about. Chris Witowski, looking for a move on Rats. Can he get it? No, he doesn't. Oh, but Rupert goes wide. And that gives Rats. There's contact between Rats and Chris. Oh! There's contact between Rats and Rupert. Oh! Rats is off. Rats is off.
And so who's that? Is Rupert too?
Is that Rupert?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Rupert is off too.
Your 2 race leaders, folks, both have been tagged, with each other and with other people, and that means, folks, now your leader for this race should be. Oh no, it isn't even Chris, is it? Wait, who's leading? That's the Lambo of. Where someone's like, is that Olive? That is
Antoine Olivet, yeah.
That is the Lamborghini of Antoine Olivet that has somehow avoided everything between those top people and is now leading your race. We didn't even talk about Antoine previously, but hey, I mean, he's leading, and leading from Chris as well. Wow. That's unexpected. That's really unexpected.
Yeah, he really came out of nowhere, and just like Chris Witowski, staying out of trouble, and now he's P2. So yeah, awesome job from them. As we see, Chumesky and Jack Bedell both get drive-through penalties. So it's better that it's now, but it's still not good for them.
That's actually horrible. Imagine you have to be in Rats' shoes, man. Oh, I mean, he started from pole. He was, pole sitter, and now he's down in P22. I mean, he must be heartbroken. Yeah, I really do
Definitely.
feel. I really do feel for him. Where is our other? So Orlando is there. I need to find out. So where was our other front row sitter? Where is he?
Rupert is.
Where is he? Sorry, yeah, Rupert, of course. Whereabouts is Rupert? I'm trying to finish with P28. Oh, that's not very good. And both his car and the car of Rats heavily damaged. Look at Rupert trying to just nudge that car. What happened?
Is this Chris Witowski in the lead now? Something happened with Antoine Olivet, and Chris Witkowski was able to overtake him. So now we have Chris Witkowski, Antoine Olivet, and Nico Veldman. Antoine Olivet and Nico Veldman, Nico Veldman and Ruben van der Hudding having a little bit of a fight.
No, Antoine gets through! Antoine gets through! Sorry, I do apologize, Whiskey. Antoine gets through on Chris! What is
a dive bomb!
What is this race? This is like the second lap, guys. There's an hour of a race. You guys don't need to decide the positions now. What is this? Okay, but yeah, that's absolutely amazing. So somehow, I mean, Chris, is of course faster on paper, but Antoine going for a massive dive bomb there and somehow getting through. I don't know, Whiskey. But I do want to have a look. You were talking about it. Nico Feldman here takes P3 away from Ruben. That's a battle as well. I think we're gonna have to watch out for.
Definitely, and also just a quick note: Sam Chumlee and Nick Kanonov are both in the pits, probably for damage. As we see, Antoine Olivet leading this race for Italy, which we were just saying. It was interesting. Japan was P2 at the start of this race, and now Italy is P1. So this is a huge blow to the Japan-Italy fight right now. And yeah, wow.
I mean, I do want to say, of course, nothing against Antoine, but he didn't qualify, within the top 3. I think I'm not quite sure where he was. I think P4, P5. I'll have a look at that a bit later. Maybe you can correct me there. But I mean, just imagine that. You're starting the race, from P4, P5, wherever, and your best hope is, can I maybe get in the top 3? And then suddenly, the two race leaders, almost take each other out, or get taken out, and then you're P1. I mean, he's in this race. Of course, Chris definitely putting some pressure on him, but I mean, Oliver must be so happy, Whiskey. Being in P1, I mean, he's leading the race he never even thought he was going to.
He actually started P6. Antoine started P6.
I mean, that's even better. Gains 5 positions the first lap. I mean, there's a lot of sports that you hear from that. Other than, maybe F1, but I mean, that just shows you what a league this is. And Chris might actually wait. Is Nico going to make a move on Chris? I think. Oh. Can that AMG get past? He has a straight line speed. Chris made one mistake, and now he's let Olivet pass, and now he's let Nico get right alongside him. Is Nico going to go for the dive bomb? He's putting alongside. Can he do something? Ooh, that was close. But no, that's opened the door now to Nico's rival Ruben. Okay, Ruben not getting a position just yet, but oh, what a battle this is. Whiskey, what's just happened within in the previous 2-3 laps? What has happened? Can you maybe give us a bit of a reboot there?
Yeah, so the mini fights that go on in the middle of the pack of this community is always so incredible. As we see, it looks like Ruben is side by side with Nico Veldman on the straight. Let's see who can outbreak who. Nico is still slightly ahead, and Chris is by himself now.
Nico has the straight line speed, doesn't he? He has a lot of straight line speed. Okay, so for those just tuning in, our two race leaders unfortunately got taken out, and they took each other out as well a bit. So now your new race leader is Mr. Antoine Olivet, which, may I just say real quick, Whiskey, has somehow already decided, hey, I'm gonna pull a gap on you, Chris. I don't know whether Chris has damage or whatnot, but I mean, look at Antoine. He's having a wonderful time off, isn't he? He's setting a lap after lap. He was 6/10 faster. Sorry, I do apologize.
No, go ahead.
He was 6 to 7 tenths faster than Chris on the last lap. So, listen, I'm not ruling anything out, but Antoine, we might see him on the podium at the end of this 52 minutes.
Definitely. I mean, a lot can happen in an hour, but this is a golden opportunity for the golden car of Antoine Olivet. He has fastest lap right now, and he is just killing it. But we do see Chris is not too far behind. So Antoine can't loosen his grip on his wheel right now. Chris is less than a second behind him. And yeah, the fight is still brewing between Nico Veldman and Ruben van der Hutting as well. I'm sure we're going to see some action there at this chicane and going into the start-finish straight. Actually, possibly not, because Ruben is still slightly behind him. Not enough really to have an overtaking opportunity.
Ruben's problem is that AMG has a lot of straight line speed, doesn't it? As Chris now says, the fastest of the race, you're definitely catching on it. But I mean, that AMG has a lot of straight line speed, doesn't it?
Yeah, yep. And we did see Chris Stricker. He was going to look down the inside of Dominic Ligner, but he thought otherwise, and he tucked in behind him for the turn 1. And Chris Witkowski going fastest lap of the session. So he is definitely not happy with P2 right now. He wants to get that P1 for England again.
I mean, saying he's not happy with P2, you know, he was P3 on the grid. Let me say it like this: I think he's happy with P2, but I definitely think he wants that P1. He know he has the pace, and he know he can. But that Lambo just looking a bit wide for the Bentley today, which is ironic. But yeah, no, of course, I think Antoine definitely stressing a bit, but I think he's having a wonderful time as well. Leading this race, started P6. I think it's a brilliant day for him. Even if he doesn't win, I think he's gonna be happy after this race.
Yeah, definitely. These are definitely some good points for his country. Yeah, a lot of very, very close. Travinsky and who's that? Christian Stricker and Dominic Ligner, all the fight for P6, 7, and 8. Very close together.
I mean,
and they're just, yeah.
Whiskey. What I'm gonna say is, I have a feeling we're not gonna get bored this race, are we? We're not gonna get bored for the next 50 minutes of these mini battles.
Yeah, definitely not. Just at the distance that they can fight together is just astonishing. How close they can be together, but still be pushing so hard and not like hitting each other is just incredible.
That shows you how good they are, how talented they are. Talking about how close, Nico Veldman looking at Chris. Sorry, I do apologize there. But Nico, he's kind of found his pace. I mean, Nico previous lap about 4/10 faster than Chris. So Nico, honestly, he might be in contention for a B1 here, because if he has that type of pace, he's currently lapping, you know, a lot faster than both P1 and P2. So he definitely has the pace.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds. Sorry, you're gonna have to take this just for 2 seconds. I will be right back.
Sure. Yeah, Nico Veldman is not giving any breathing space to Chris Witkowski. As we see, the P6, P7, and P8 fight is still going strong. Chris Stricker not giving any breathing room either to Dominic Ligner. And even further down, we see, who's that, Bailey Thompson, my bad. Bailey Thompson with Andrew Moulton. A fight between them, and Thompson wanting to get through, trying to around the bend, but it's just not making it happen. So he tucks in behind again. And yeah, right now the fight between 6, 7, and 8 are still going.
Okay, what have I missed? What have I missed?
Not too much so far, except Chris Witkowski, less than half a second behind Antoine Olive. It almost looked like they touched bumpers there. Nico Veldman just took the fastest lap of the session.
Oh, but Ruben got past Nico. You can't just skim over that. So Ruben.
Oh.
Yeah. Did you not see that? Ruben got. Okay, don't worry. Shock for us both. Ruben Van Hedding then getting past Nico Veldman. Absolutely amazing. I assume it was an amazing overtake. I wouldn't know, but I mean, I'm just gonna assume. I've seen some really good racing out of Ruben, so I'm just gonna assume it's good racing. Do you have any action a bit further down the field? Hubert?
There is a lot.
Hubert and P9.
The fight for 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, that's the one.
And yeah, that's a big one. It looks like Marvin Betch is very close with Jurien Visser, 0.1 seconds. Although they look a little bit further now.
See, but that's the thing about these races, especially on a GT3, isn't it? It's kind of like a concertina where, you know, it comes together and then goes apart. Comes together, goes apart. So I think we're going to see a lot of it today. But as you said, being late on the brakes in a Nurburgring, definitely something, something that you need to be. You have to have some serious balls to do it, but I think it's definitely something that you need to be. I do want to have a look at one of our leaders then, Orlando Rats. He is quite a bit off the pace of the guys ahead, unfortunately. But where do you think, realistically, Whiskey, where do you think... Oh, Rupert just setting the fastest lap, sorry, so they're definitely flying, both of them. Where do you think those two can, you know, actually end up in this race?
You know, actually, looking at it, Orlando Rats' last lap was faster than Antoine's last lap. And he did pit already, so I think he's definitely trying to undercut. And yeah, Rupert just took fastest lap with those new fresh tires.
I'm not quite sure where they'll be on the podium because, you know, with the field stretched out this much, it's, you know, I think it's going to be hard for him to wait. Maybe we'll see one of them on the podium. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think it's definitely going to be a hard race for them. Definitely not how they wanted it to go. They were looking so good in free practice and in quali, and then race comes and, you know, it just kind of screwed them over. I do think we should probably ask if we can get the video of this race and then just have like a highlight reel, because I do want to see that start quite a few times, because that was absolutely amazing, Whiskey.
Definitely.
Let's have a look. Dennis Janssen? No, he's quiet. Sorry, I'm just looking at my deltas. But my deltas are actually lying to me, which is not ideal. P22, P21, Carol, and Andrew fighting here. Not big points, if it is points. But I mean, hey, that's sometimes, you know, what you have to do. If you're on his fast guys ahead, you kind of just race your own race, get on your, you know, in your own headspace, Whiskey, and kind of just do your own thing, if that makes sense.
Definitely, definitely.
But then, going up the grid, we say that, but then going up the grid, there are people like Antoine Olive, who is still heavily under pressure from Chris Kwiatkowski.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that Chris is just not giving him any space. So this is very important for Chris, because if he can keep this pressure on him, which he's doing a great job at it, Antoine, he's not, you know, there's a leader that just leaves everyone in the dust, and he gets this huge gap behind him, and that relaxes the driver and gives him a little bit of breathing space. But with Chris behind him, really close behind him, wow,
very close behind him.
Yeah, it puts the pressure way up on Antoine, and it's a lot more likely that Antoine is going to slip and make a mistake, which Chris could definitely utilize.
I do want to have a look, because for some reason we, again, didn't see this. So P3 to P5 is now, for some reason, Nico Valpon, Timo Brown, and Ruben van Hunning. How exactly did Timo, first of all, get past Ruben? Yeah. Why is Ruben so far back? That's absolutely amazing. I mean, you know, for Nico, of course, it's absolutely amazing because, you know, it gives him some breathing space. But I mean, that's something quite surprising. It looks like this race is really going Nico's way. He's genuinely enjoying it, I think.
Yeah, definitely. He's only 1.8 behind P2 right now, so he's definitely. I mean, he's in a podium position right now, and he's definitely got the opportunity and the pace, it seems, to climb up even more.
Definitely. But the one person behind him there, Timo. Timo is getting close to his pace, but he's not close enough. So I'm not quite sure if Timo will make a move on Nico in the following few laps. We'll have a look at that. But the one thing I do want to have a look at is Mr. Ruben van Hudding. I mean, it is. Oh, I honestly feel for Ruben. Because he is slightly catching Timo, but this has not gone his way in this race. I mean, of course, he was absolutely sent up the orders with that, turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 crash, with the race leaders. But I mean, Ruben, he's been, he just can't get into that P3. He was fighting for it, and somehow in that fight he's lost and gone down to P5. I mean, if you're Rupert Whiskey, or looking at Rupert at least, what do you think he's currently thinking? What do you think is going through his mind?
I don't know. I think he's just trying to tuck in, and really, Rupert, since he's at such a disadvantage right now, he might be trying a bit more risky stuff, a bit more of a risky strategy, which it looks like he is, because he has pit pretty early in the race, and so he's just kind of trying to throw anything at it to get an improvement, because he's got really nothing to lose. So there's no point in not doing that. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely. I wasn't really talking about Rupert. I was talking about Ruben van Hudding in P5.
Oh!
But yeah, no, Rupert as well. Of course he had to pit for that damage, unfortunately. But yeah, I think both him and Orlando, as you said, we'll see. Of course, them staying out is going to help them long term. But yeah, we'll see how that works out. I hope they can at least finish in the top 10. But we'll see what happens with the pit stops and whatnot. But yeah, no, I'm talking about Ruben van Hudding losing his potential P3 going down to P5. What's his mindset?
I think, well, okay, so he has Timo in front of him, who's German. Well, Timo is German, yes, but I'm talking about who's representing his. Yeah, he is driving a German car, which is the same car that Ruben is driving, and the car in front of them is Nico, who's another German car, a Mercedes. So, personally, I think if I was in Ruben's shoes, I would say, okay, it would be cool to get a podium, but I kind of want to not like go completely, sterile, but I do want to be cautious with how much I try and push and stuff like that, because he wants to, this whole cup, the point of this cup is to see which country is at the top, not which driver is at the top. So I think he does need to think about being a team player and saying, we just need to maximize points. If I try and do something silly, I'm going to throw it away.
Yeah, definitely. I did just read chat. Some people saying I'm too soft and you're too loud. So I have fixed that. I do apologize for Tipsy and Taurus. We were not reading chat at that point. Please tell me if my mic is working better now. I have turned it up in OBS. If you could maybe Whiskey, have a look yourself. If the volumes are fine, I hope it is. But yeah, I have... Oh, might be a bit too loud. There, give me a second. Advanced audio properties. Yeah, but we do apologize. We didn't see that, but we saw it now, so we fixed it. Hopefully, we'll have a look, I guess. But yeah, no, yeah. Definitely. I get what you're saying. Whiskey. We talked about this the previous race, didn't we? As in, if two countrymen, or two people representing the same country are fighting, do they, does the slower one let the faster one go? So it's, yeah, I think it's complicated. We'll see what they do, but it's definitely complicated, and I think it's a lot more. Work than we think it is. I think of course, if a lot of them, if they get together before this and say, listen, this is what we're gonna do, I think it would be easier. But I have a slight feeling that's not what they're doing. So yeah, no, we'll see. But whatever happens, I hope it's entertaining racing. I don't hope it the one just lets the other one past. But I haven't seen that yet, so I think it's good.
Yeah, definitely. As we see, Chris Bukowski getting very close to Antoine, and looks like Antoine is pulling away on the straight. But yeah, it's just, I think Chris, we really have to hand it to Chris. He's doing a great job of putting the pressure down, but we also have to hand it to Antoine for not giving into the pressure. He's still doing a great job at staying in the lead.
Definitely. I don't think he's the pressure's getting to him much, is it? I don't think it's getting that much to him as we expected it, but I think the pressure is getting to Chris. He's making one or two mistakes, isn't he?
Yeah, he is making a few small ones, but he's still able to keep that gap pretty small.
See if you can keep it small enough. Honestly, I think Chris, whatever happens, I do think that both of them deserve that win. But at the end of the day, I think it just comes down to whoever has the best strategy and has the most pace and has the better, just the better, I think, general race awareness, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
Chris getting extremely close. Is he going to go for a dive? No, he doesn't. But he's definitely... The thing that Chris is doing right is he is definitely showing... How can I say this? Chris is showing Oliver he's there, right? He's not just like... just staying constantly behind him. He's showing him, I can do this, and that plays part, of the mental game that you were talking about, as in, that might get to Chris, that might get to Oliver. I don't think it has just yet, but it's definitely something psychological that I think Chris is doing right. He's, constantly showing Oliver, listen, I'm here, don't get too comfortable, I will catch you if you make a mistake.
Exactly. I couldn't say it better myself. I think Chris is saying, look, I have the pace to be faster than you. You are holding me up. Basically, he's just like, that big old Bentley behind him is just saying, get out of my way. As we see Antoine Olivier making a mistake, going into the sand, and there it goes. Chris able to overtake him for P1, and now Antoine needs to worry about who's behind him, the highlighter car of Nico Veldman, because Nico is going to be on the prowl now looking for an opportunity, especially, that whole thing just messed up Antoine's groove, and this is not going to be a good time for Antoine, especially if, look how close Nico is getting. If he gets a better exit,
Antoine pits. He's going for an undercut. Oh. He's going for an undercut, so I think he's realized, listen, I've lost P1, I'm going to go for undercut and see, maybe I can get it back. And I think this is a very important part, because the thing is, do you just do a splash and dash, or do you do a full pit stop and prep your car? That's the biggest thing about these pit stops that, it's extremely fascinating, I think, is what are these drivers going to do? Whiskey. But yeah, no, poor Antoine, and it just shows, the littlest of mistakes just sends you off the track and can really, really screw your race, unfortunately. And it's, I think, for him, I think leading like that for P1 was absolutely brilliant. I think it felt brilliant for him. But I think at the end of the day, I don't think it was practical. I think, eventually he would have probably lost P1, but at least, he can go and dive into the pits, get that fuel, maybe get tires. I'm not quite sure about, the physical, what you can and cannot do in the pits. But I mean, it's, Olivier, not ideal, but he can still do something in this race, and that's all I'm going to say. But, Whiskey, do you think Mr. Nico will be able to catch Mr. Chris?
Well, he is a little less than 2 seconds behind him, and we have 30 minutes left in the race. So, do I think it's possible? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Nico he's a great driver. Chris is too, but I do think it is possible. And I just wanted to say how it was very, very smart. And I know you touched on this too. I just want to say too, it is very smart that Antoine just immediately, he said, all right, I'm at a disadvantage, I'm going to pit. I think that was a great job on his part. And now Chris needs to recognize my big opponent just pit. I need to take this time and put some killer laps in. After I've been fighting with this guy, I need to put some really good laps in order to counteract his pit stop.
I do want to say, Nico Veldman now pitting, so he might be going for an undercut as well, seeing as Chris still has not pitted. So this is going to be interesting, because there's one of two ways that Chris could have set up that car. He could have said, listen, at 30 minutes, I'm pitting, right? Whatever lap is close to my 30 minutes. Or he could have said, I'm pitting at literally, lap 5, and, or, the last 5 minutes, and hoping I have a big enough gap. Because some people do that. They set their car up for a whole race and just do a splash and dash at the end. So, whichever way this is going to go, all I'm saying is we cannot keep Chris out of our sights, because this man, I think, if he puts in some good laps, as you touched on, Whiskey, he is going to be deadly, and I think, yeah, it's definitely going to be something else. I would also like to mention, we are currently watching chat. I know previously we weren't watching chat, but I myself am watching chat, and I think hopefully, Whiskey, you can get on and just keep an eye on it. So if you guys want to talk to us, give us your opinions, give us your race predictions, or maybe what they're doing. Please do. Tell us what you guys are thinking. We would absolutely love to know, what's going on in your minds. What do you guys think is happening? What do you guys think Chris is gonna do? Yeah, will definitely be interesting. But yeah, Whiskey, who do you realistically, now that we've had that big, turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, who's your winner for today? Or actually, no. Let me ask it like this: who do you think is going to be the winner of today? And who is your personal driver of the day so far?
I think I don't think we can until everybody has. Yep, Chris is in the pits now. I think we can't really tell what's gonna happen until the top guys are also in the pits. Until Timo and Chris are in the pits, or out of the pits, and there goes Timo in the pits too, because that is gonna see where does everybody stack up. Net, like where's Antoine and Ruben in all of this. If Chris has a longer pit stop than him, or Antoine was able to do some really fast laps on those fresh tires, it's gonna make or break people's races. I think personally, I would say Chris. I think Chris did a really great job of putting the pressure down. And if he was able to do some good laps, because he was by himself, and it's really, after that overtake, it's really easy for you to just mentally relax, but then your lapse times start to suffer. So if he was able to keep himself in the zone while he was doing those laps by himself, there was no one around him for that last lap or two, then, that's really going to do well. As we see, Chris Wachowski is in front of Timo. Where is Antoine is P8?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if T got held up, maybe. Yeah, it might be possible that... No, he isn't, sorry! No, Antoine is right behind Chris! That's the Lamborghini of Antoine, right behind Chris! But, looking to make a move on him is Ruben! Ruben wants a move! Ruben has now said, hey, sorry, that took me a second as well to snap, but that's Antoine right behind Chris. Chris may have played this to perfection, and now Antoine has to try and catch up to him. That is, oh my word. I did not see that coming. I think our timing boards just need to update here. We'll give it a solid second or two. Because of everyone bidding, our timing boards do kind of sometimes, unfortunately, glitch out a bit. But yeah, I know. Okay, so that's very close. But look at Ruben as well. He's getting on Chris. Doing the same thing. Sorry, he's getting on Olivier. Just the same thing that Chris did to Olivier a few laps ago. So let's see. Hopefully Olivier doesn't cave this time. He shouldn't, I don't think. But, you know who's right behind Ruben? Right behind Ruben is Mr. Nico Feldman. Look at him. I mean, obviously I don't think he wants to be behind Ruben. But he does have the pace. Looking at his times, about 0.2 faster a lap than Ruben is. So I think Nico, we're gonna see a lot. We're gonna see a lot of Nico. I'll just say that. We're gonna see a lot of things still from him.
Definitely. And, you mentioned Ruben Van Hutting right behind Chris Wachowski, right between Antoine, very, very close behind him. And he is... Oh, is he? No, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything here. But, yeah, I think Antoine is not gonna want to be in this position because he wants to be pushing and worrying about the person in front of him, but now he has to defend and worry about the person behind him, and that's absolutely not what he wants to be doing right now. He wants to be trying to put killer laps in and trying to put pressure on Chris the same way that Chris put pressure on himself, as we see possibly a little bit of contact between Ruben and Antoine. But yeah, Ruben himself putting the pressure down on Antoine. Antoine has been getting it today from the people behind. It's really, he hasn't gotten any breaks except for his pit stop.
But see, Ruben, yeah, except for his pit stop, Ruben needs to be extremely careful here, because his only problem is, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but into that previous corner, if he, makes a mistake and gets off line, it gives Antoine a lot of breathing space. And the thing is, as you saw previously, if Ruben makes a big enough mistake, he can absolutely smash into the back of Antoine, which would ruin both of their races. So I know that Ruben wants to overtake, but wants that P4 currently. But I mean, he needs to be more careful, because I honestly think if he's not more careful, he might start making some decisions that he might regret. So we'll see what happens, of course. But yeah, it's. These two, I mean, Antoine has just stole the show, isn't Antoine with whoever, actually, he's just absolutely stolen the show, hasn't he? Antoine's showing us some really good racing. I would love to have an interview of him after, and talk with him a bit about, the race and what he was thinking, because, yeah, he must be extremely excited to be where he is now.
Definitely, and just real quick, I did want to mention, I love Antoine's livery too, and Ruben's as well. Very, very. Ruben's being very patriotic, and Antoine just has a very subtle trim at the bottom of the Italian flag. So, I love these guys' liveries. Really, really cool. I did want to mention something about. Oh yes. So you mentioned earlier about Ruben having a few mistakes, and while following Antoine, and these guys are great drivers, but even really good drivers, sometimes it is you do get a little bit of tunnel vision where you're focusing too much on the person in front of you instead of the track itself, and that can tend to make mistakes like running into you or going too wide or something like that. So that does still happen, so they do have to remain very, very careful throughout this race while they're putting the pressure on people like that.
Definitely. Currently in lead. Oh no, wait, don't worry, never mind. I was gonna say Lars was in the lead, but he isn't anymore because he has just pitted. So that gives the lead to somewhat unexpected from Optimum Motorsport, Bailey Thompson. Of course, I don't think he's pitted yet, but I mean, he's not gonna be too... Well, he's in the lead just yet, but he should take it here in the pits as he comes through. But he shouldn't be too sad about that. I don't think he's going to be too sad about it, is he? Being the leader for 1 or 2 laps before he pits, I think he's... yeah, he's going to be quite happy about it. He's going to be able to say, I led the Nurburgring race, round 2 of 4. I did it. You guys can't tell me otherwise, so yeah. No, but amazing drive from Bailey as well. Not, unfortunately, last lap 2 seconds slower than the guys behind, but I think, by the time he pits... should kind of just give them kind of a gap to open up, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, he's proud of himself. Even it might just be for a few laps. Bailey's, he's made it up to P1. He's leading this race, and I mean, hey, we never know. Maybe he does, pit, in the last 10, 5 or 10 minutes. So we'll see. Maybe Bailey, maybe something happens and Bailey's fighting for P1. We wouldn't know. We'll have to have a look and see what happens. But yeah, no, behind him then. Is Mr. Chris Witowski, as he said, absolutely brilliant. He's in P2, and he has pulled quite a large gap to Mr. Antoine. Antoine obviously having to deal with Ruben van Hudding behind him. So yeah, no, I think Chris has a P2 secured. If it isn't a P1, I would be surprised. He definitely has one of those top spots on the podium secured for this race, I would say. Of course, something crazy could happen. But how it's looking right now, I do think we're definitely going to see Chris in one of the 2 top spots.
Definitely, and it's very interesting to see where Bailey's going to come out after his pit stop, because he's staying out quite a long time, the longest out of anybody, and we have about 18 minutes left in the race, and yeah, he's got to be screaming on those tires at this point. So it's interesting to see when he's going to come in,
Obviously.
and how much time he loses because of it.
And those tires obviously aren't screaming enough, because otherwise he would have pitted. So I mean, if he feels he's good to go more, you know, then that's good.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Is it possible that he's already pitted? I don't think so. I don't think it's possible.
No, he still has the one right next to his driver number,
okay,
which is the required pits.
Okay. That's fine. You know what? Bailey doing good. He's leading the pack. He is doing good. Really good. And he's enjoying himself. You know, at this point, it's his own race. No one, you know, really in front of him. Behind him, there's quite a gap. Although they are catching him behind him rapidly. You know, behind him, there's a gap as well. So he's just enjoying himself, having a lot of fun. And that's how racing should be, especially sim racing. But you know who isn't having as much fun? When I get back to this, Mr. Antoine Olivet. I mean, how many laps has he held off Ruben now? It's probably been like a solid 5 or 6. Oh my word.
Yeah, he's just doing a great job. And we also see a lot of fighting down the order. We see P17, 18, and 19 very, very close together and fighting it. And Felix Rupert getting fastest lap, which kind of shows how out of position he is right now. P25 for him is just unheard of. So it is very unfortunate what happened at the beginning. And we do see Orlando Rat's P14 right now. He's been able to climb up a little bit.
Well, see, that's exactly... Sorry, Whiskey. That's exactly what I point out. Rupert, still down in P25 for some reason, while Orlando has managed to get up to P14. So, it's kind of weird, you know. Is Rupert playing another game? Is he expecting Orlando to stop again? I'm not quite sure, because, you know, for Orlando now to have, you know, such big of a gap to Rupert, I don't know how that's possible. You know, they kind of ended up in the same area. We know when they were spun off. They kind of ended up in the same area. So I'm kind of struggling to, you know, think why Rats would be so far ahead. You know, almost in the top 10 even. You know, so far ahead of Rupert. It's kind of astonishes me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. As we have just 20 minutes left of this race. And Chris Witkowski is 6 seconds behind Bailey Thompson. And Antoine is 4 seconds behind Chris, but Antoine has to deal with Ruben van de Hutting, who's less than a second behind him. So yeah, a lot of fighting throughout the order. It looks like Ruben went a little wide there.
I think so.
Yeah, but 20 laps left too. So we have 20 minutes left, or I'm sorry, 20 laps in, 20 minutes left.
I was about to say, you've done some very quick maths, haven't you, to give us the exact lap count of what's left. But yeah, no, I mean, the time has absolutely flown by, and you know, that kind of just, it kind of signifies really how good, how fun it is to commentate this racing, you know, and to watch as well. I'm sure everyone watching, I hope you guys are enjoying it just as much as we are. This racing is definitely, absolutely, it's definitely something else. Yeah,
and still, Bailey Thompson still has not pit. Maybe he's just in a groove right now, and he doesn't want to break it, or he's just enjoying the moment. But I mean, closer and closer comes Chris Witkowski and the rest of the pack. So, regardless of when he pits, he's still going to get overtaken at some point.
But it's fine. Hopefully we can see Thompson in the top 10. I think he definitely has the ability.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just typing something real quick. I'm actually typing something to you, Mr. Whiskey, if you want to have a look at that as I send it here. I spelled the word race wrong. But yeah, no, it's definitely absolutely amazing racing. And you know almost the thing is, why I would really want to talk to Olivet is because he has, I don't know how he's done this, but somehow he has, you know, kept both Chris and, as we saw Bailey pit there, he has astonishing ability to keep, you know, both Chris and Ruben behind him for so many laps. And I think that just shows, although Olive might not be, the faster out of them, he still, he's an amazing driver that has absolutely amazing pace, and that definitely has the, he has the talent. He has the talent to be up there. To hold off, these fast guys. Not that he isn't fast, of course, but to hold off people that are 2-3 tenths of a lap faster than you. It's an amazing talent, and I honestly do applaud Olive for that. I think it's, to keep your head as cool as that. Yeah, I think we can all say, Whiskey, it's something amazing.
Definitely, yeah. He's the fact that he's been able to just defend so well. If he wasn't a good defender, he would have just fallen down the order. Because to be fair, I do think Ruben's got a better pace than him. But Antoine doesn't need to give him that position. If Antoine can defend him properly and legally, then he has every right to do it. So there's, Antoine is just, yeah, he's doing an incredible job at keeping Ruben behind him.
Definitely, and I think, even if I think it's a bit of stress to say he's going to be able to catch Chris ahead of him. Chris has, really pulled the gap now. But I think, if Antoine can hold on to P2, P3, I think he'll call that an extremely successful race. I mean, starting from P6, it's, for him, I think it's something really special to be up there. And I think he's really enjoying himself. Funnily enough, I think he's, although he is under pressure, I think he is really having fun, and I think he's enjoying himself. Because if he was getting frustrated with himself, we would probably see that in his driving style. And I think he's having fun and just keeping a cool head, and just trying his best. And I think that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Definitely, and this is a hobby, and it's a really cool hobby, but it is a hobby. And it is the most important that people have a good time. But I definitely think he is having a really good time, because P2 is a great achievement with these guys. And like you said, starting, was it P6? I'm sure he didn't start the race thinking he was going to be P2. Yeah, great job from Antoine. 5-second gap between him and Chris. And yeah, Ruben possibly backing out a little bit. He might be getting some pressure from Nico Veldman behind him, and it's a bit of a train right now for 3, 4, and 5. We have Ruben, then Nico, then Timo, and quite a bit behind. 12 seconds behind is Dominic Ligner, and Dominic is getting some pressure from our own Christian Stricker.
And honestly, I'm sorry, I do want to have a talk. Nico, I'm currently on Christian, I'm just going to show him while we talk here. But Nico, the thing is, we saw some amazing pace from Nico in his first stint, but he is kind of struggling to find his feet. Ying, at this lap he was faster by 10th, but in general, he's about 1 or 2 tenths slower than Ruben in front of him. So I think for Nico, it's definitely going to be. I think he wants that P3 desperately, but I think he's struggling to get up to Ruben. I think he's struggling to get up to Ruben and to really put that pressure on, the pressure that he has to put on.
Definitely, so each car does have specific pros and cons. We've been talking about, the Mercedes is very fast in a straight line, and you need to, most seasons and most series, you pick the car that most suits yourself and your driving style. But I feel like here, Nico does usually pick the Mercedes, but Timo doesn't usually drive the BMW, I think. And so I think he's had to, I don't know if he's kind of realized that he might actually be good with the BMW, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with this, but
no, don't worry. I know exactly where you were going with this. No, Timo, definitely. I think throughout the race, we have just seen his pace getting so much stronger and stronger and stronger. So no, I know you lost your train of thought there for a second. But yeah, no, Timo definitely. I think for him, I think he's getting used to the BMW, and I think he's getting used to it very fast. I think he's definitely, you know, getting to know his quirks, and I think it could definitely possibly be a contender for him to be his main car, because, Timo has just, you know, got up to speed so fast that I think that's definitely a car that'll start suiting him very soon. Nico, on the other hand, struggling a bit with their Mercedes. I think the setup might just not be optimized, but hey, I mean, you know, that's unfortunately sim racing. That's how this works. And that's why we do it, I guess. Let's have a look down the field, because Mr. Rats, Orlando Rats, he is, oh my word, he's in, just, if we have a look at him, Whiskey, he's in a space of his own. I mean, you know, coming around the last corner, he's in P12, you know, close to P10. I think he's even just not going to be able to get P10. But I mean, whatever he gets, I think he's going to be extremely upset. You know, he could potentially have gotten all those points for the English team, and now he's kind of, you know, P12. I can't imagine he's happy with himself.
Definitely not. I mean, he's got a really good recovery drive, but there's only so much you can do if you spin out turn one and go that far behind. And honestly, we would have to look at it back, but I don't think it was necessarily his fault, which makes it worse, because there wasn't too much he could have done about it. I think it was for Orlando and for Rupert. I think it was pressure from the back that something happened in the back and caused them to spit out. It's like,
bless you. Bless you.
But yeah, so that's kind of, they got the worst hand, and it just kind of, yeah, it's just very unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely. It is kind of unfortunate, but Orlando, I think he's trying to scrape all the points together that he can. But this race has shown us something that Rupert definitely needs to work on, is his race pace. You know, I mean, he showed really good pace, but, you know, even if that car is, you know, fully fixed up, he's really been struggling at the back. Currently setting 150, his last lap 156.652. You know, his last lap was slower than Chris Witkowski's, who was originally P3. So I don't know if Rupert's kind of given up, and that might have affected him at the start of the race. But yeah, I think his race pace just isn't there, and I think that's kind of what, you know, has made a difference with him, you know, him and Rats when it comes to climbing through the field, unfortunately. You know, of course, you know, Rupert, he's definitely going to be demoralized what happened in turn one, but you know, something like that affecting your whole race, I don't think that should happen, and I think, you know, that could have been what's happened now, unfortunately.
It is interesting that you say that, because Rupert has held the fastest lap of the session for quite a while now, and I don't know if that was like, I'm not quite sure if it's Rupert himself or if it's something to do with the car or the position he's in. Because if he's behind someone who's also out of place, I can't remember where Nick Kanonov started, but it could also heavily depend on where he is. It looks like he's just got...
Yeah, he's an open road, isn't he? I was just about to say, he's an open road. But see, the thing is, we have to talk about something real quick. So, Rupert's fastest lap is 1:55.070. Chris Witkowski's fastest lap, the P3 starter, is a 1:55.092. So, that's what I'm saying. He might hold the fastest lap, but it isn't by much. It's only by 2/100ths of a second. Showing that, you know, yes, Rupert's fast, but he isn't as fast as we think he is. Because if Chris can match him, who wasn't as fast in his qualifying, that means that, you know, unfortunately for Rupert, his race pace just isn't there. You know, Orlando Rats' his fastest lap time is about a 10th off. But the thing is, Orlando, if you look at him, is setting consistently faster lap times than Felix is. So, you know, it doesn't look like Felix has any damage, you know, but I think he's just... That's what I'm kind of saying, you know, it's open track ahead of him, so I'm not quite sure what's happening with Rupert. It's definitely something that I would love to talk to him about, but it's... Yeah, it's bad to see him like this, because the thing is I was watching practice, and I think he was doing long runs, and he had really good race pace. So I think, you know, this whole situation might have just kind of demoralized him, and really kind of, you know, just, you know, made him feel that bad to a point where he's kind of, you know, just saying, listen, I'm just, you know, I can't go as fast as I would want, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, he did have incredible quality pace, but when it comes to the consistency of that high pace, I just don't think it's there for the race itself. And it also might have the issue, the turn 1 incident also could contribute to that, just mentally, you know, that being in such an awesome position at the start of the race, and then having that taken away from you right at the beginning is a sucker punch to the gut. It really is. And it, you know, being it's way in the back now, I'm sure that did a lot to his confidence and his confidence in his drive, his confidence in his, you know, he's going to get a good result. Now that's basically out the window. So, you know, yeah, even if he's not actively saying like, you know, I'm not going to whatever get a good result, I'm sure subconsciously it's taken a toll on him, you know.
Definitely has. No, it definitely has. But you know who this race hasn't taken a toll on is Mr. Chris Witowski. Comfortably leading now in P1, and he's just enjoying himself, isn't he? I mean, he has dropped a bit of pace and letting the guys behind him get a bit back. As you see, yellow flag there in front of him. I'm not quite sure who that is. Next to the road, someone. Not quite sure who that was.
That's Marvin Betch.
Let's have a look. P.
But now he's P21. I don't know what he was before.
Yeah, oof, yeah, I think he had a big collision there, but that's fine. But getting to what we were saying, Chris is, yeah, this race just gone from, I think, good to better for him, you know, qualifying P3 and then, you know, leading at P1. But the one person that might be a bit upset is, unfortunately, Antoine Olivet, who has, Ruben has unfortunately gotten past him. You know, I think, once again, it was inevitable to happen, but Olivet, if he keeps his composure here, he can still keep a P3, because there's only 4 minutes and 44 seconds left of this race, and he does have Timo behind him. So I think, Whiskey, I think his biggest thing now for Olivet is he just needs to hang on. He just needs to hang on as much as he can. We did see, I think, what happened?
Oh, okay. I thought Timo was gonna... Antoine went a bit off the line, and it looked like Timo had an opening there, but Antoine was able to recover.
Timo, don't
but yeah.
there. Timo, don't. Oh, look at Nico getting extreme close. Yeah, Timo also getting past Nico. Timo getting past Nico. See if Nico can get a counter attack going, but I'm not quite sure of that just yet. But yeah, no, Antoine. It's what I mean. If it's a minute 50, let's say a minute 56, right, a lap. So, 2 of that is 4 minutes. Or they're, I think they're basically on their second to last lap, if I've done the math correctly. It's either the second to last lap or it's the third to last lap. But, Antoine, listen, if you're watching this, give it all you can. You have 2 or 3 laps remaining. Just push, okay? We want to see one. Nothing against you, Timo. Absolutely love you, man. But, Antoine, push, push, push. We need every single bit of pace out of you. You need to keep this P3, man. Push, 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 okay? We need you. We need to give him a bit of encouragement. Of course, not biased at all, but we do need to give Antoine a bit of encouragement. But yeah, no. I do have to say...
I think if Antoine is watching the stream, I think he's got some issues if he's watching the stream while racing.
that is quite... I actually know a few racers who do that. They because it helps them get like a feel of where the whole field is. So I know a few racers who do that. But yeah, it's definitely draining. But yeah, no, listen. I have to say, my driver today, I'm gonna give it to Antoine, because to defend like that for that long, I think he definitely deserves it. And it's second to last lap. Sorry, I have fixed it. Second to last lap. This is, yeah. Antoine, definitely my driver of the day here. Done amazingly well. Who's going slow? Is that Ruben going slow? I think Ruben went a bit slow there for a second. Antoine actually having a look on Ruben there. That was amazing. What was Ruben up to? But yeah, no. I think Antoine, I'm going to have to be biased, definitely. He's my driver of the day, Whiskey. Are you going to stick with yours, or who do you think?
Did I say Antoine before? Oh no, I said Chris, didn't I?
Chris. I was about to say you said Chris.
I said Chris. It's very hard. It's very hard to decide, but I do think Antoine has done an incredible job. And you know, he was put in such an awesome position after that big incident in turn 1, and he really has just squeezed out as much opportunity as possible out of that, and he has done a great job. If he finishes P3, it'll be I think a lot of celebrating for him.
Oh yeah, I think he's
but yeah,
I think he's gonna go mad. He's gonna go mad. Yeah. He's gonna absolutely, he's gonna be saying, listen, I did something that I don't want to say that unthinkable, but I mean, the guy's done what I think every single racer on ACC has ever wanted to do. Start P6, magically up to, I mean, it was P2? Actually, no, sorry, P1 at one point, and then defended like hell. Unfortunately, he went down to P3, but I mean, that's still P6 to P3, that's 3 point, how can I say this? Positions, points that he's gaining for Team Italia, so well done to him. He got a bit of a bad exit there. Don't get a bad exit here, Antoine. Don't get a bad exit on here. Come on. We are going to stick, I think, do we go on board with Antoine for the last lap? I'm thinking we do.
Yeah, probably until right at the end, where we're going to switch to Chris.
Yeah, definitely. Tell me when Chris is going across the line. But yeah, now Antoine heading here into turn 1. Diving through. Look at, he's actually, through there he's actually catching Ruben. But yeah, keeping right behind Ruben, keeping his lines nice and clean. P2, this turn 2. Turn 3, I believe, but I'm not the best at track, so I'm going to stop naming, I'm going to stop calling their numbers because I know for a fact I'm wrong. Gets a right exit. This is really important for exit here because this is a long straight, so I want to get as a good exit as possible. You want to make sure, good braking into here, good traction. Keep on your line, keep on your line. Yes, Antoine does. Will he keep it right? Yes, he does. Keeps it extremely nice through there. Uses the runoff that is necessary to use. He's just now, you want to keep it left through here if you can, and then enter sharply right. So is he going to do that? Yes, he does. Beautiful braking. Oh, he's actually gone wide a bit, but that's fine. Looks like he's covered off Timo behind him, getting on the throttle here very nicely again. Of course, tractor control does help in GT3 cars, but I don't think Antoine needs any of it. Going through here, just keeping it on the curbs. Curbs are essential to use there. Really, really nice if you can use them. I know that some cars struggle with it. In here, keeping it as sharp as possible. You don't want to get on the curb too much, but you do want to use it. Going left, then through right here. And I think we are going to go on with Chris now, because I think Chris is extremely close, isn't he? Let's get that bit apart here.
He is. Got only a few more corners left before he becomes race winner of round 2 of the Nations Cup.
And well, I think it isn't a maybe, it isn't a was. Chris Witowski is our race winner for round 2. Ruben van Hudding then taking P2, and then Antoine Olive taking that P2 and P3. P4 goes then to Timo Braun. Sorry, no. P4 goes to
Nico Veldman.
Oh no! Wait, what? Can we? I want to get a replay of that. Can I get a minute replay? Can I get a minute replay of what happened? So okay, we are watching. Sorry, I am watching a replay here. So Timo's ahead. You're just gonna have to trust me here, Whiskey. So Timo, he's still ahead. Let's see what happens. Because something had to happen for Nico to sneak by. Was it in the last turn? Could it have been in the last turn that Nico... Oh, let's have a look, folks. So we're almost approaching the last turn here. Timo's still ahead, putting pressure, but not too much. Going for the last S there. Let's have a look what happens. Does he just get bad grip? Oh, he actually almost comes to a stop. Okay, so he almost. You guys are gonna. Sorry, Whiskey, I do apologize. But he almost just, for some reason, he just slows down and just gives the position to Nico. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. Wow,
That's very
definitely
interesting.
something else.
I wonder why, but I mean, they are both German, so
Yeah, that just.
yeah.
That's really weird. But then Ruben van Hadding, sorry, okay, well he's not taking the win. But yeah, no, we will get that top 10 for you guys soon. Do we have the interviews lined up? I hope we do.
Well, they had just finished racing, so I'll be communicating with them. If you want, you can go to the replay and look at turn 1 of the first lap.
We'll have a look here. We're going to save the replay first. That's very important. We are going to save the replay. We're going to have a look at what has happened in that turn 1. If we can get the race leader as well, if we can get whoever won. No! Oh, we can't have a look at lap 1, unfortunately. We cannot have a look at lap 1 because it only saved 45 minutes of the race.
That's okay. We do have the Chris Wachowski and Antoine lined up. If we want to do Antoine first.
Yeah, let's get Antoine first. So Chris, oh my word. What a race from him, isn't it? I mean, that Bentley definitely did its job, didn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
Do you want to interview Antoine there for us, and then I'll take Chris if you're fine with that, or do you want to do it other way around?
Sure. Yeah. If you do have any questions that you do want to ask him, you can go ahead and do that too.
Yeah, we'll do it both. It's fine.
I can't. He can't see it.
Who? I think we can just drag him up, can't we?
Oh yeah, sure. I don't know. Can you do it?
Okay. Who do you want first, Antoine?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, Antoine.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, there he is.
What an incredible race! We were very impressed by your defending, and first you had to defend from P1. You started, was it P6 or 7?
6, yeah.
So you started P6, and then after all of that chaos in turn 1 that sometimes happens, you were P1, and you had to defend from Chris Wachowski for quite some time. You were able to do just a great job at defending. What was it like for you?
Well, it's not the first time I do that at Nurbs.
Of that,
but like, yeah, it's a track where it's very difficult to overtake. Basically, the only overtaking point is turn 1. So with the straight line speed of the Lambo, just had to make no mistakes. And first mistake, Chris got past. But that's how it is. Like, Chris definitely had the pace on me, so I knew that at some point he would get me, maybe the pit stops or something. So I wasn't too I was trying to keep him behind, but I wasn't too bummed about him getting past.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And then you had to do the same thing against Ruben. Is it Ruben van der Hudding?
Yeah.
Or right at the end, yeah. Did you feel the pressure? I'm sure they were trying to put pressure on you to make a mistake. Did you feel that pressure during it?
I mean, yeah. When you have the car just behind, there's no way you don't feel the pressure. But like, it wasn't too bad in terms of pressure. Like, I wasn't tensing up or anything, so it was good.
Definitely. Congratulations. That was a really great race. Really great race.
Yeah, it was a really fun one. Didn't expect that from the start.
Yeah, and you got some good points for Italy as well, with your
which
your
are
finish.
crucial because George was not here and Jasper was not here today. So we need those points.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Before
Do you have any
guys-
questions? Sorry.
No, before he goes, I have one question. I have a question. First of all, Antoine, again from my side, really well done. You can ask everyone in chat, in stream, if you go and rewatch it. I might have been a bit of a fanboy for a lot of it because I think I was really hoping you get that, and get that you did. I mean, absolutely brilliant driving. I do want to ask, what was it? How can I say this? What was it physically like? Because the thing is as you said, you're used to defending, but being that cool-headed, if that makes sense. Because, you know, the whole race, you know, we were looking at you, and your lap times are, you know, kind of in the same range, and you weren't making a lot of mistakes yourself. So, my question is really, how do you do that? You know, what's kind of your way of getting yourself into a place and saying, listen, I need to defend, I'm just going to keep a cool head. How do you do that?
Oh, it's a difficult question. Like, the thing is, to defend, you kind of have two ways you can do it. One way is to go defensive on each corner. Really, you lose a lot of time, but like that works pretty well. But if you want to defend for a whole race, you have to keep it steady. And yeah, it's just that. Like, I didn't care too much about the result because I knew I was already getting much better than I expected. So, like, it was just focusing on your laps, focusing on your braking points all the time, and that's it.
Honestly, yeah, once again, I think that's definitely something a lot of people will have to learn. Keeping us cool and keeping us consistent. But you've done it today, and yeah, well done. Really, really well done. Enjoy it. I assume you're going to be extremely happy with that result. So really enjoy it, Antoine, and have a great one, I guess.
Thanks.
Now next.
And
oh, sorry.
we have yeah. Go ahead, Chris Wachowski.
Yeah, I think next.
You can pull him in.
Okay, I will pull him in. Sorry, stepping over each other, but that's fine. We're new. It's fine. But yeah, I hope Chris wasn't in the middle of a conversation. Chris.
Hello.
Were you in the middle of a conversation as we dragged you, or can we?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you can ask some questions. But yeah, no, Chris. First of all, extremely well done. That must be a bit of a race result you didn't expect at the start.
Yeah. I mean, I was playing iRacing for the whole week. I just launched the game today, and my pace was absolutely nowhere. So I don't know how did I manage to win that, but I guess some luck into turn one. And yeah, I don't really know, but somehow managed to.
I mean, turn one, of course, you know, big determining factor. But I think the biggest thing, you know, you were behind. We just add in here. You were behind, you know, for a few laps. Behind that Lambo. How?
Yeah, Antoine.
Yeah, Antoine. But once you got past him, you know, for that P1, of course, did you, you know, actively try and pull a gap, or did you just say, I'm just gonna, you know, try and be as consistent as possible? Because, you know, I think a lot of people, you know, once they get into P1, it can be really stressful. So, you know, what was kind of your experience, you know, starting to lead a race?
I mean, I've been in P1 more than once in 2S now, so it's not that stressful anymore, but I was kind of over pushing when I got ahead of him, like before the pit stops. Before the pit stop I was over pushing a lot, actually, but I still was gaining somehow. And I don't know how did I stay in P1 after the pit stop phases, because I made a huge fucking mistakes, and they had to move me in the pits, to bring me up, bring me back, bring me up again, and start doing the pit stop, so I lost like 5 seconds.
Okay. And if you, the second, what was kind of your first reaction the second that whole, you know, how can I say this, that turn one incident happened? What was your first, you know, immediate reaction? You know, when the two race leaders got spun out, and Antoine, of course, got past you. What was like your first reaction to that?
To be fair, I wasn't focusing on them. I just saw Antoine super sending it on the inside. I wasn't focusing on them, but then I see I have two drivers on my left side, and I have nowhere to go on the right, and they just went into me, and I was really surprised that I had only like 1 or 2 seconds of damage, because it felt like a big hit.
Okay.
But yeah, I was happy.
I can think. I mean, you won the race. That must be some really good points as well for you.
Yeah, there is no way I would have won this race if they didn't collide.
I mean, hey.
I do have a question as well. So this cup, this Nations Cup, is quite different to anything else that we've done in 2S, because you're not fighting, you know, it's not like a singular you against everyone else. You're getting points for your country, right? So how does that change your mentality going into races? Do you kind of have to play a team player a bit? You
To
know,
be
if
fair-
you have, yeah, go ahead.
Not at all. It does not change anything. It's like, no, it's the same like when you compete in like a league racing season. You only, well, not only, but 90% of your focus is the drivers' championship, not the constructors one.
Mm.
At least it is like that for me, and
Okay.
I guess for most of the guys it is.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much, and also congratulations with the win. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
See ya.
Yeah, no. Whiskey. What a race.